This year, Silverdocs presented 108 documentaries from more than 50 countries.
Had to speak up.
One of this year's highlights was a series of films exploring social justice. Festival director Skye Sidney says she decided upon the theme because so many films dealt with this issue.
It is curious why documentary filmmakers are now entering into the social justice system using documentary as a way to perhaps intervene or to add testimony or to become a witness or an advocate, for a particular social injustice that the filmmaker sees happening, and to think about how the documentarian's role is now integrated into this other process.
In Give Up Tomorrow, filmmakers Michael Collins and Marty Sihuko follow the trial of Paco Larrañaga, a teenager accused of raping and murdering two sisters who vanished in 1997 on the island of Cebu in the Philippines. Despite overwhelming evidence in Paco's favor, he was given the death penalty and 14 years later remains in jail. The film shines a light on corruption in the Philippine judicial system and the media, which played a large role in his conviction. Marty Sihuko says he made the film because the injustice was personal.
My brother is married to Paco's sister, Mimi, and when Paco was implicated, we knew that there was obviously a mistake, because when you see the film, you realize that he was hundreds of miles away on a separate island and there was no way he could have committed this crime. So we thought that the courts were going to basically correct this wrong, and yet when the Supreme Court elevated his sentence to death, we were all stunned.
It would be easy for somebody your size to hurt a baby and not realize it or not mean it.
In Scenes of a Crime, filmmakers Grover Babcock and Blue Hadayer explore methods of interrogation. The film focuses on the interrogation of Adrian Thomas, an American suspected of killing his infant son. Thomas is seen being grilled for hours before he confesses to the crime, despite overwhelming medical evidence that he's innocent. Filmmaker Grover Babcock.
We didn't know a lot about interrogation when we started the project, but what we quickly learned is that interrogation, the method that was used with Adrian Thomas, is not actually an investigative tool. It's actually not meant to elicit information as much as it's used to elicit a confession.
Blue Hadayer says detectives in some areas of the U.S. use harsh techniques to obtain confessions, even if they believe the suspect is not guilty.
To get to the truth, they use psychological manipulation, they use lies after lies, and it works on many, many, many bad, awful, guilty people. But what we really have learned is that that method also works on people who haven't done anything.
This investigation is the largest domestic terrorism case in the history of the United States.
In the film, If a Tree Falls, Marshall Curry follows the rise and fall of the Earth Liberation Front, a radical environmental group that destroys corporate property as a way of spreading its message. The film questions whether radicals trying to save the planet are freedom fighters or terrorists. Festival director Skye Sidney says she's curious about what happens once the audience leaves the theater.
What are we left with afterwards? What do we do with that information? What do we do with that rage or new sense of the world? And how might these films be used to maybe impassion us to become more active citizens or to take on certain issues that compel us?
He died in my arms at 10 minutes past 12 New Year's Eve.
Whether this year's offerings inspire, inform, or simply entertain, there is something for everyone. Julie Tabo, VOA News, Washington.
Once a general, still a general. Once a general, still a general.